So today we'll be talking about ESG investing. ESG investing refers to the practice of integrating environmental, social, and governance factors into financial investment decisions. So it focuses on the ESG in addition to traditional financial metrics like profit, revenue, and growth. ESG investing evaluates how a company manages risks and opportunities related to sustainability, ethical practices, and corporate responsibility. So what are the ESG factors, right? Environmental is basically how a company impacts or responds to the environment, like energy use and carbon emissions. Social is how a company manages relationships with employees, suppliers, and customers, and other companies as well. So, for example, labor practices, diversity, human rights, health and safety, stuff like that. And governance is often also evaluated traditionally, but it's basically just how a company is led, like their executive pay, transparency, ethics, and shareholder rights. So you might be asking, why does ESG matter? ESG matters because of risks management, long-term value, and social impact. Right? ESG factors can reveal potential risks like climate change or reputational damage that traditional analysis might miss, but is also a large impact for the company. ESG also creates long-term value because companies with strong ESG practices are often more resilient and may offer better long-term performance. And the social part of it, ESG investing allows investors to align their portfolios with their ethical values of sustainable and reputable business practices. So for us in this investment project and group, we will be focusing on ESG integration, so just including ESG risks in the normal financial metrics. We'll also be covering current events and how that will affect a company. In addition to qualitatively assessing ESG metrics, we also have quantitative metrics as well. So how do you find a company's ESG report, right? It's really simple. You just search on Google ESG report of whatever company. Take, for this instance, Microsoft. You go to the website and there will obviously be a sustainability section. In that section, they will talk a lot about their goals for the future, like zero carbon, zero water waste by 2030, something like that. You often want to, of course, acknowledge these, but scroll down to the bottom and view the 2025 report, which is this year's for their ESG metrics. Though this is not as prominent or in some cases important as financial metrics considered by investors, it's still very important to consider these, as in the long term this will actually affect the environment and be very detrimental to a company's reputation and also their health. So thank you. So quantitative ESG metrics start in three sections. First, we have the environmental, which covers kind of the basic impacts on the environment. Like, for example, we have GHG emissions, just greenhouse gas emissions, often measured in absolute, which is total, and intensity, which is per unit of production. Then we have energy intensity, which is the amount of energy consumed per unit of output, so per megawatt of electricity produced. Lower intensity means greater efficiency. Water intensity is the water usage per unit of production. Lower water intensity shows efficient use and conservation of water, which is good for the environment. And lastly, in the environmental, we have material recovery rate, which is the percentage of materials that are recycled or reused for manufacturing after a product's life. This can be glass, aluminum, or even semiconductors. Next, we have social metrics. So social metrics include workplace safety, often measured in injury rates, so basically the frequency of workplace accidents or injuries, usually per 100 or 1,000 workers, and the lower numbers obviously indicate better safety practices. Then we have diversity metrics, then community engagement, which tracks investment in local communities, such as charitable giving, and lastly, human rights audits and certifications, which is third-party assessments and certifications ensuring workplace rights and safe with fair labor practices. Of course, the governance metrics cannot be left out. We have 4 in this section as well. First, we have supply chain traceability, which is just evaluating how well the company can track where every component and material comes from, ensuring ethical sources. Then we have board oversight and diversity, which is the composition and practices of the company's board of directors. Transparency and reporting is the third one. It's the frequency and quality of public reporting on ESG topics with external data and validation alignment to global standards. And lastly, we have the code of conduct and ethics violations. It tracks and measures in place to prevent corruption, bribery, and unethical business practices, and reports any violations that are reported and done.